What up, what up, what up, what up? It's your boy P. Skip. Welcome to the best half hour of your entire Tuesday. You know what time it is. It's time to get into his course. Got my squad with me, T-Mac.
Hola.
Chili Will.
Gracias, amigos.
Let's do this. How y'all doing today?
Man, please, I'm great. Wonderful. I'm great.
All righty, let's do this. Luke chapter 10, verse 1 in the Amplified says, "Now, after this, the Lord appointed 70 others and sent them out ahead of him, 2 by 2, into every city and place where he was about to go." Now, I said that because recently I looked at an article, I don't remember who it was by, but it talked about in the NBA dynamic duels other than Mike and Scotty. And here is the list that they had put together. They put Peyton and Kemp. They put Malone and Stockton. They put Blake Griffin and CP3. And last but not least, they had Amari Stoudemire and Steve Nash.
And neither one of those dynamic duos won a championship.
Wow.
So they weren't so dynamic.
I mean, in order to be a dynamic duo, I think winning a championship should be a prerequisite.
Yeah?
But that's the participation trophy you just read.
That's a pretty high bar. I will say that you can still be a dynamic duo. I think the distinction is championship dynamic duo.
Right. Because 1, 2, 3, at least 5 of these guys are going to the Hall of Fame. Because Peyton's going to the Hall of Fame.
Only one person on there not going.
Right.
And he still might go.
And that's Sean Kemp.
Yeah. Yeah, Sean Kemp is the only person on there who I would say doesn't have a chance.
And and the jury's still out about Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
But other than that, all these are Hall of Famers.
Yes.
But, you know, I then begin to compile my own group of dynamic duels. I thought, you know, being a local Milwaukee guy, I thought, first of all, you can't go wrong with Kareem and Oscar.
Can't go wrong.
That's a fact.
And they passed my prerequisite test.
The championship.
They have a championship.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Then, you know, Kareem didn't just duel up with him. He also dueled up with Magic.
Irving, Magic,
Another dynamic
Johnson.
duo.
Another dynamic duel.
And how many championships?
3?
I think they got 5 together.
I think they got 5.
Oh, that's right.
Five
That's right.
together.
5. Magic got 5.
Yeah,
Right.
they
5.
got 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then I thought about, well, let's go back a little further. I thought about the logo and Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West.
Okay.
Another dynamic duo.
I'm thinking, okay, well, why nobody's mentioning them guys?
Well, even with when you say the logo was a dynamic duo with Wilt.
Yeah.
But he also was a dynamic duo with Elgin Baylor.
Yeah.
Because that championship that him and Wilt won, Elgin Baylor, that was the first year he didn't play.
It was
Right.
really a shame
It was a shame.
that squad didn't win more championships.
Yes.
And it was all 3 of them.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's it's hard to believe.
Yeah.
So the
hard to believe.
logo, just like Kareem, and I'm sure some other people were dynamic duos with more than one person.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
Exactly.
Because you can go with Shaq and Penny.
Shaq and Penny.
Didn't win a championship together, but were dynamic.
Yeah.
yeah.
Then he got with Kobe and won some championships.
Hey,
Shaq and Kobe.
Hey, and my namesake, him and Dwayne Wade was a heck of a duo, and guess what? Brought home the medal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So Shaq done teamed up with 3 different people.
And won championships with 2 of them.
Let me interject this real quick. Where does Shaq rank all time in terms of centers, given his body of work that we just mentioned?
You know, it's interesting. He never get mentioned in the GOAT conversation either.
Never.
He never get mentioned in the GOAT conversation.
Never. And I think during his playing days, particularly post Orlando, he probably was the most dominant player in the game. I mean, we always talk about, you know, Shaq and Kobe gets a lot of love, well deserved. But in the first 3 championships that they won together, in the 3 championships that they won together, Shaq got MVP.
Right.
Yes.
every last one of them championships.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to interject LeBron James in here because LeBron, he catches a lot of haterade. Now, he's an upstanding guy. Folks got love for him, but he has maybe as many detractors as he has supporters.
Right.
Just in terms of perspective, if you can have a combo, dynamic duos, I don't know if he's ever had a dynamic duo outside of Dwayne Wade when he got those 2 championships. Should have had all 4, but that's another conversation.
Right.
Had he had anybody on his team throughout his career that he could have won championships with that played well enough to get the MVP of the series, how many championships would LeBron possibly have?
He'd have probably had every one that he went to the finals with.
Yes.
Every one of them. So I think that speaks to how good he really is. I mean, Shaq won 3 MVPs with Kobe. So Kobe, you was his teammate, but you wasn't even the best player on your team.
You was Robin.
You was Robin.
You was Robin.
Exactly.
You wasn't Batman.
Imagine if LeBron could have been Robin any time during his career. Because he was going to bring what he brought, but had a teammate that played well enough to get MVP,
Right.
he might have a stronger case for that GOAT piece.
Well-
up there with
well-
Mike and Kareem.
Well, he has the brow.
He,
He has the brow.
Uh-huh.
And let's see what how that shakes out.
this can be an
You know what I'm
opportunity.
saying? It's right
This-
there.
This can be an opportunity.
He also had the handles. Kyrie.
Yeah.
When he won.
I'm not saying he hasn't had a couple of good players, and those
that's
that you
about it. He's
mentioned,
had a
that's-
couple.
Yeah, and those didn't rise up to the level of MVP,
Right.
Because in the championship they didn't outplay him.
No.
Right.
No. And then the other thing, too, you think about the championship that they lost. Kyrie went down and Love went down.
Yeah.
Had Kyrie and Love not went down because the next year they did not go down
Right, and they won.
and they won the championship.
Yeah.
They probably would have went back to back.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think I agree with that too, because even with them out,
They almost won. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He still took them 6 games?
Yeah.
By himself, and you could see only reason they won, Golden State won, is because he was tired.
Yeah. Yeah, he ran out of juice.
He ran out of juice.
But let's talk about a couple of more. Let's look historically, a little bit historically, and then a little bit vintage.
Okay.
You know, about dynamic duos. You know, there's some other people that's not on this list. Number
Right.
1, Bird and McHale is not on that list.
Right, and right behind them, Irving and Malone, Julius and Moses.
Julius Moses is not on that list.
How about the Twin Towers?
They're not on the list.
Yeah.
Hakeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson.
Hey, what about Cousy and Russell?
Yeah.
They got hardware up the wazoo. Cousy and Russell.
It's
Now,
almost-
Cousy ain't the most sexy person, and people like the most. But honestly, when you start talking about best basketball players in the history of the NBA,
Yeah.
the European American basketball player that get mentioned all the time is who? Larry Bird. The other person that should
Got
be
you.
mentioned quite often and never get mentioned is Bob Cousy. They
Cousy.
always mention John Stockton.
Right.
Here's my why isn't Bill Russell ever named amongst the GOATs? This cat got 11 rings.
He does get mentioned among the GOATs sometimes.
The respect level for him forces his name to be in the conversation. But
Right.
I think that one of the reasons why he doesn't get as much love as some of these other players is because typically the GOAT has to do with some scoring
Yeah.
piece.
Yeah, that's
as-
exactly what it is,
You know what I'm
Tim.
saying?
Yeah, that's exactly what
as
it
well
is.
as some level of dynamism
Yeah.
as you play. He was more fundamental and basic than even
Blue
Tim
collar.
Duncan. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? He was
Blue
straight
collar.
blue collar, you know, and people don't have a great appreciation for blue collar. But when you talk about championships, bottom line, winner,
Yeah,
he's
chemistry.
probably the best winner in all the professional sports.
No question.
Regardless of which sport you're talking about.
No question. No question.
What about the dynamic duo of, since you mentioned him, Tim Duncan and either Manu or either Parker? Would you consider that a dynamic duo, either one of them two?
I don't know if I would
'Cause
take
they got rings.
I would give a duo piece. Well, let me say it like this. I don't know if I would consider those duos because every time we think about them, we think about it's a trio.
It's trio.
You know what I'm saying? Those are, if you take any two of them, those would just be 2/3 of that monster.
Right.
You know, so I don't know if they are pure duo status level.
But then would you say then Kobe, Shaq, and Fisher?
Nope.
Nah.
No.
Fisher was just a very, very key
Clutch.
contributor.
He was a glue
Clutch.
guy. He
Yeah,
was
he's
a
a
glue
glue
guy.
guy.
He was a
Exactly.
glue guy.
Exactly. Another
They couldn't win it without him.
another type of guy who LeBron could have used.
Yeah.
Somebody that wasn't one of the stars or one of
Right.
the all-stars, but was a contributor to every game and
Right.
clutchy.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You know, I think another guy, just talking about clutch guys. One of the guys that doesn't get mentioned about being clutch very much that I hear is Big Shot Bob.
Robert Horry?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How many big shots did he hit with San Antonio and LA and
Yeah.
Houston?
And
And
Houston.
Houston.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Big Shot Bob earned his name.
He saved one or two of those Laker championships because I
Right.
thought that at least one of those seasons, Sacramento was the best team in the West.
They were.
And but for his last second shot off like a deflected ball that he just got and fired up and nailed, they would have denied LA that championship and they would have got some hardware for themselves. So Big Shot Bob, hey, shout out, man. He got about 7 championships?
He got 6.
6
No,
or
he got
7? I think he got
Does he
7.
have 7?
Because he's
Yeah.
got 2 with Houston,
Back to back.
3 with San Antonio,
Okay.
and then he's got, 2 with LA or
2 with
3
LA.
He could. Yeah. I mean, that's good. Wow.
Yeah.
Got a lot of championships.
Yeah, quiet as kept.
Man.
Which also I think begs the question of we can't. Or while championships are, it's the ultimate thing. It gives you the most weight. Talk about taking an exam. If you are a student, you got let's say 10 tests throughout the year. Then you got an exam. All your 10 tests count as 50% of your grade, but that final exam count as 50%. That's the biggest thing in your arsenal for your grade. It's not the only scoring piece. I think championships are kind of weighted like that as well.
Yes.
While they are maybe the biggest singular thing that has the most weight, that's not the only consideration. Because you have a guy like Robert Horry who has 7 championships, and for
Right.
those that say, well, Michael Jordan, he got 6 championships, how many LeBron got? Well, Robert Horry got 7. So we're going back just
And
by
Bill
that.
Russell got
He
11.
11. You know what I'm saying? So we can't just use that as the singular barometer for whether somebody is great or not. It does go into the conversation, though.
Well, we talk about the same thing with LeBron James about him having someone play that well. The other person I think that never had that was Patrick Ewing. If Patrick Ewing ever had a Robin, if he ever had a Robin,
never had
he would have a couple of rings.
I would have to agree with that.
They definitely would have had a chance at that Houston when Jordan left the league.
Yeah,
They would have had a shot at that one.
Let me ask the question, though.
That's a very
With
good point.
Elijah Wan, was it Sampson that was his duo, or was it
Drexler.
Drexler?
It's
It
Drexler.
was Drexler.
Or what? You know what I'm saying?
No, it's Drexler.
It was Drexler.
No, it's the 5 Slammer Jammer. That's what it's Drexler in Hakeem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Because now, don't get me. Ralph was his fighting buddy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ralph was. Hey, listen. If one go down, we all go down.
Right.
Ralph had no. Hey, I still remember the game that he got in a fight at the end of one game with Boston. The first thing he did was finish it.
Oh, when the game started.
He was just like, bam! Oh, we're not done. Round 2, bro. I didn't forget about it.
Right. Definitely getting his lick back.
Yeah, but now we talk currently dynamic duos because we got the season starting back up.
Oh, you got a bunch of
You know,
them
we
now.
got to get ready to start back up. Now we got some dynamic duos that might have a chance. Now, the bearded one and Westbrook had the opportunity in OKC, couldn't get it done. They done reunited, and it feels so good.
Yes,
In
indeed.
Houston, a sleeper.
Hey, have you seen the bearded one?
He slimmed down.
Oh yeah.
He done dropped about 20 pounds.
Oh yeah, he looked like Luther Vandross.
Oh my goodness.
Skinny Luther. Skinny Luther.
Right.
He looked like Luther
Do, do,
Vandross.
do, do, do.
But some of us like the big Luther.
Right.
We might like the big beard
Right.
over the skinny beard.
We'll see.
Yeah.
yet to be seen.
Yeah.
And Nurkovic. I mean, Djokovic trimmed down too.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah, he looked. I seen a picture of him. I thought it was Perzinga.
Okay.
Right.
Wow.
He dropped. I mean, he's skinny. He
Okay.
got his sexy on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now it's gonna be some duos that's gonna happen in this tournament, in this championship run. That's gonna, might be able to be brought up in that conversation.
Yeah.
Only can be brought up in that conversation in my book if they win a championship.
Do you think that the order of the Titans will remain the same once the NBA picks back up, or will guys take a minute to rev back up into the elite teams, or were those that were elite prior to the break, quote unquote, be the same teams like LA and LA, Clippers and Lakers, Bucks, Toronto? Will they emerge as like the final four coming out of this piece, or does that remain to be seen? That the break kind
I
of
think the biggest benefactor for the break is going to be for Portland,
okay.
because Portland got 2 star players coming back, and Dame Lillard was hurt when the break started.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're going to be at full throttle.
Okay.
So that's a huge advantage for them coming back at full throttle.
Yeah.
So that will help a lot. Now, some of the teams like the Lakers, and they had their chemistry going on, and they think LeBron is a little bit older and all that stuff. You know, that's neither here nor there. If it would have been a short break, it would have been good for them to get some rest. But once the break went, as long as it went,
Yeah.
now the problem is, can they rev back up?
Yeah.
So some of those teams who got older players may have a problem revving back up. So it's all kinds of dynamics in this, but I know one thing, it's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah.
You know, like you were saying, you got to go from being revved up to knocking the rust off.
Yeah.
You know, but what I'm seeing for me, with everything being in Orlando, all the games being Orlando, now nobody has a home court advantage.
Man, I hate that, man. We fought for that home court advantage, man.
Nobody has one. And,
Yeah, we did.
But the
As
great
in the
thing about the
Bucks.
Bucks is they have a good away record.
Oh, yeah.
They have a good
They
away
got
record.
the best record in the league, so they can beat you. It's like
on any court.
like in the Cat in the Hat. They can beat you on a plane. They can beat you on a train. They can beat you on a yacht. They can beat you on a yacht.
Right.
They can beat you anywhere. They can beat you anywhere.
Right.
Yeah. So they good.
I am interested. First of all, thank God for basketball coming back in whatever form it is.
3 cheers for that.
Amen.
I'm so glad for that. But I'm really interested in trying to figure out or seeing really how they come up with this format.
Yeah.
Because first of all, you already eliminated some teams, like you cats wasn't gonna make it no way.
Right. The
You know,
math.
so-
The math
right.
is against you. You out.
Right.
Yeah.
But even with the math, though, somebody can hit a slump, and then somebody can hit a hot streak and change that.
It's not enough time. It's only like 20, 25, 22 games. It's
Yeah.
not enough time.
And they're playing 20 games.
Right. It's not enough time.
Yeah.
If you more than 4 games out, mathematically, the other team that you're going against got to go belly up,
Yeah.
and you got to catch fire. The odds of that is very low.
Will there be a stink raised by those that were, just outside of the playoff race, 1 or 2 games back behind the 8th seed, thinking about
All of those are in.
They're still in?
They're all in.
Oh, okay.
It's
okay.
it's in the West. Well, it's only one team in the East, Washington, that had a chance.
Okay.
And they were, they still got a long shot. But in the West, you had 3 teams that was 3 games out.
Yeah.
And all 3 of those
Okay.
teams are in the playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're
Cool.
going. Well, they're at least
Good.
going over to Orlando.
Yeah.
Here's a question I have. Now that the NBA season is being pushed back, how is that affecting the WNBA? If there's even going to be because they haven't even been talking about them.
Oh, it was some news today.
Okay.
I didn't get a chance. I was getting ready to come down here, and I saw that it was some news today regarding the WNBA. So we probably be able to cover that on our next show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Because right now, again, you heard some news, but they've been
Let me
quiet.
tell you what I heard. What I heard is they're going to have enough games where they can get paid 100% of what their salary was.
Okay.
So I think the number that I heard, don't quote me on this, was they normally play like 36 games. They would play like 22 games, and that would allow them to get their full salary. That's the only part that I heard. So we'll look into it, and then when we come back with next week's show, we'll.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
Because all of this, and I'm also wondering, okay, what you gonna do at the G League now? Because you got a bunch of these kids that skip college. What's gonna happen with that? Are you? Because they're
Well, the NBA draft.
right,
There was no NCAA tournament, so we don't even know who good.
Right.
right. And will the G League still be getting paid?
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of questions that are still there, and like to your point, Pastor Skip, in terms of when we do see this end product, what will it look like? It's still feeling a little weird, and will whoever wins the championship have an asterisk by it?
Of course.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think
I
so?
don't think so. I don't think so. I think if you, I mean, this was a strange, weird year, but the strike years.
Yeah.
Who won? San Antonio won the strike year. We don't put an asterisk by that. They just won a championship. We don't really,
Good point.
Yeah. But I really do think, in all of this, it reminds me of the famine in the land that went back in the children of Israel when they had to deal with that famine. And we've had a famine. It seems like 77 years we didn't had no sports. Is what it seems like. Well, for us avid sports fan, we had 7 years of famine. Now it seems like they're going to just bombard us with sports and have like 7 years of plenty. Because you're going to be, you can stay in your man cave now because you're going to have, it looks like you're going to have baseball, basketball, and possibly football all playing at the same time.
Yeah. Have sports coming out of your ears like
Right,
that, like
and
that
soccer.
quail.
Right, golf, all of it all at one time. Whereas before, okay,
Hey,
one's ending, another
hey,
starting.
I might even watch a little NASCAR.
Right.
I actually watched NASCAR the other day.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
I watched NASCAR.
It's gonna be a welcome change. I think that from the social impact, sports one, just for sports fans and those who play sports, you have just the pure enjoyment of it. It's just, man, I just love sports. The other piece is that the impact that it has in our social fabric in terms of having a way of some escapism, some distraction, and something for folks to kind of rally around
Yes.
with all the just sucky news that we've
in
had.
common.
Yeah, with the COVID-19 pandemic, other civic unrest following, the killing of George Floyd, the protests and different things like that. There's been a lot of not so sweet news, whereas in sports, somebody scores a touchdown, hey, I can cheer. Somebody gets a basket, somebody does a great move, I can say, oh, you see that move?
Yeah.
We get a chance to express other spectrums of the emotional piece of us as opposed to anger, despair, and dude, when is this going to end?
Yeah. I think the one thing that sports does is sports doesn't really deal with race, it deals with color. And by that I mean the color of your team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Color of your team's uniform. But they don't care, sports fans don't care whether you're black, white, Spanish, Chinese, it don't matter. Are you going to help my team win?
What?
That's what matters.
Well, and then you look at the NBA, which has a great influx of foreign players. I think 1/4 of the league is foreign players.
Wow, that much.
Right.
now.
1/4 of the league is
Wow,
foreign
that's
players.
25%.
Yeah, it's about 25%. And with that 25%, a lot of those players are not just coming somewhere else culturally, they coming somewhere else with a language barrier.
Right.
Like Luka is not, he cold, but Luka don't speak English as great as, people from here.
Yeah.
Same
Nor
thing
did
with
Porzingis.
Ginobili. Yeah, same thing with Ginobili. When he was playing. And it's up Porzingis either. Some of the people are learning, the language as they play and as they come back into the league. So all of those barriers have an impact on how well you go and how fast you go.
Right.
I mean, just
right.
imagine if all three of us went and played on a basketball team in China and everybody spoke Chinese, including the coach.
Yeah.
That's different.
That definitely
and that's what a lot of
is.
the foreign players are dealing with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, my youngest brother, he played overseas. He played in Geneva, Switzerland, Spain, France, and Hungary. And he had to learn each one of those languages.
Yeah.
In order, to communicate.
How did that affect his quality of life? Did he feel a level of frustration? I mean, going out to eat, can you order from the menu, not knowing the language? I mean, how did he make that adjustment and stick around over there as opposed to saying, you know what, I'm out of here?
Well, one of the things is money makes you stay.
Okay.
That's one of the
It's a
things.
great incentive for sure.
Because back then, you were only allowed, I think, 3 American players.
Right.
And they got paid
Yeah.
a whole lot more than, they were making 6 figures, lower to mid 6 figures back then when he was playing. But he was telling me a story where I think he said he was in, Germany, and he was trying to order some food, and he said he wanted some chicken. So he went to the counter. He was like, "Bark, bark." They were like, and then they speak German. He's like, "No, cheap, cheap." He said, "I had to sound it out for me to get what I wanted." But he said, "Listen, man, one of the things when you get immersed in a language, you learn it a whole lot because now you're like, I have to."
Right.
And
you hear it every day.
Right, you hear it every day, and you start picking it up, watching TV and whatnot.
Yeah.
And especially, he said, a lot of the TV over there was American TV converted over to that language. So he's like, I know what they're saying, and now I'm hearing it in their language. Now I can,
he can do
it helps me with the words.
Subtitles and get his own tutorial.
Yeah.
Right, but he said, he said it became difficult, but he said, but it didn't take him long because he's like, listen, I got to eat.
Wow.
I got to eat. And
Well, lucky for him that now a lot of American fast food chains are all around the world.
right.
All around the world. I know, from Subway, McDonald's is everywhere.
Everywhere.
Subway is, and Cousins and
Right.
Pizza Hut and Burger King. You got a lot of those all around the world now.
Right.
So he could very well, eat stuff that would make him nice and plump.
But you know what? In Israel, they have a kosher McDonald's.
Oh.
Yeah. Matter of fact, their logo is versus the red with the yellow M. It's the blue with the yellow M.
Oh.
You've seen it, right, Pastor?
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, I saw it when I was there. And I was like, a blue McDonald's? Like, yep, it's
You
kosher.
thought it was coming to America.
Yeah. I was like, that's McDowell's, right? That's not McDonald's.
You thought you was coming to America.
Yeah, we have
the cult classic movie.
right. We have the McPita.
But look, let me get this, because I know we're getting ready to close up, but let me get your opinion on who do you think is coming out of the NBA, who's coming out of the East and the West, who's going to, give me the Final Four. Give me the Final Four.
Bucks and I don't know who else out of the East. And probably the Lakers for me. And I just got this feeling that it's going to end up being Houston.
Okay.
My Final Four, I got Bucks and Toronto and Lakers and Clippers.
I got exactly what you got.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people are sleeping on Toronto.
Yeah.
They're sleeping on Toronto. Toronto got everything. And I'm telling you, when you want to win a championship, the thing that you need, and this is why the Clippers are in it for me, you need dogs.
Right.
You need folks who can come out of a foxhole.
Exactly.
And the teams that don't have that, lucky for us with the Bucks, we don't have as much as other teams. But it's some closet dogs on our team. Like George Hill is a dog.
Yeah.
Right.
People don't really know that. DiVincenzo, he ain't playing.
I think, and I think DiVincenzo, I think, is going to be the key to the squad. If he can emerge as just a go-to guy, if he can become, how do I say,
three-hitter.
a key, I mean, just all around, because he has athleticism, he plays good defense, he can be a lockdown kind of guy, he can be a stat stuffer, and can be a clutch shot hitter, not just threes included, but not just threes. Sometimes getting that key offensive rebound and put back, or driving to the hole, getting the and one. We need him to be a difference maker.
What we want from him is we want him to make us forget about Malcolm Brogdon. That's what we want.
That is succinctly it.
That's it.
Yeah. And we'll close. But the Bucks still don't have a dynamic duo.
They don't.
Could this be the first championship in maybe a decade where if the Bucks win with no dynamic duo, no big two or no big
he would have to emerge
Somebody's
for them
gonna
to
have
win.
to emerge.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to have to emerge. They can't win if nobody emerges.
That's facts.
Yeah.
We'll see. Well, listen, another great show. So glad you hung out with us. Check us out next week, same bat time, same bat channel, right here, Joy, 1340 AM, 98.7 FM. Also, check us out on YouTube and Facebook, Into His Courts. Until next week,